the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, June 21st. Please stand for our invocation led by Pastor Gregory West and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business. Guide the city council, the mayor's heart, and their minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that their affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, President Gregory.
Here.
Vice President Richardson.
Here.
Councilmember Manzi.
Here.
Councilmember Small.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Rich.
Here.
Statement of rules.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good to see you here in our new temporary home until the auditorium is complete and those renovations are underway. We initially were told we'd be back in there by July. Looks like it might be a little later, but it's coming right along. So for now, we've got a new temporary home and provides us much more space. We can see everybody, we can hear. So this is better than where we were. So thank you all for coming this morning. Good to see you all. We have some special guests here with us that we will hear from shortly. One of our special guests is going to be here from the Mobile County Health Department, Dr. Eichhold, to talk with us about the Zika virus and ways in which citizens in our community can protect themselves. As you know, many of our council members conduct frequent community meetings, and we want to be able to provide as much information as possible about the Zika virus and how to better protect ourselves in our homes. So we will be hearing from Dr. Eichhold coming up very shortly. We also have a special guest here from the Explorium. Jan will come shortly and tell us about some things going on at the Explorium, always exciting events and great things for children especially to do throughout the summer months. So we look forward to hearing from her on that. We also will be voting today on the incentive package for Bel Air Mall. We have been talking about that for a number of weeks, and we are finally ready to vote on that. So I'll look forward to moving forward on this other item that we have been in discussions about for some time now. And also just a reminder that the Distinguished Young Women are in the city. So if you see them in town, be sure to welcome them. This weekend will be the finals. We expect each of the participants, there were 51 participants here this year, so each of those members in here for them. I'll be there on Saturday evening to help present the so we them in our city. Rules of the council are very simple. When you come to the podium to speak, you will have 5 minutes. We ask that you give your name and address for the record. Once the buzzer sounds, that's an indication that you only have 1 more minute to speak. When you are at the podium, if you have questions or concerns, you need to address those to me. I'm the chair, and I will then ask the appropriate member of the administration or council member to answer your question at that point. So with that said, we will move forward, and Ms. Lambert, if you will take it from here.
Approval of minutes of June 14th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Communications from the mayor.
Well, good morning. Certainly good to see everybody this morning. My first order of business this morning is to recognize 2 of our hardworking city employees that work in the finance department. I would ask Aurelia Mowry and Marilyn McMillan to please approach the podium, please, and face the city council.
And Marilyn and Aurelia, I'll tell you, because you guys weren't here last week, Miss Lambert was ready to take your checks.
Actually, we have a couple of certificates here to recognize their hard work, and really what it boils down to is in the implementation of Tyler, it's taken a Herculean effort on the part of many individuals to accomplish that. And in the area of finance, these two individuals have been recommended by their supervisor for this special recognition for their hard work and dedication. Both of them have been here at one 19 years, the other 20 years. And I think they would both tell you they've been waiting for 20 years or 19 years to see new software. Is that be correct? But you'll be glad when this is all over, correct? Well, I'll be glad to present y'all. Up two full accessible city. And Donna. Another exciting item on the agenda, of course, 4th of July is coming up, but I don't want anybody to forget that Shoe Station has stepped forward and they're donating $1 per pair of shoes sold between now and July 3rd, and this will help pay for the fireworks at the 4th of July celebration. So thanks to Shoe Station and to Regions Bank for supporting the long-standing tradition of fireworks at the Battleship. Also this week, we're launching our Meet Mobile series to spotlight the local business owners' entrepreneurship and investment in the city of Mobile. If you're a local business owner, this is your opportunity to discuss with me what the city can do to help you address the challenges that you face every day. You know, our ultimate goal is to attract more small businesses and help the existing ones grow in the city of Mobile. If you want me to stop by your small business, please contact my office. On another note, know that last week was the first weekend of the duck boats, and my understanding it was very successful, and they're well on their way to what's going to look like a long-term engagement, very successful. I think there were 622 people that rode the duck boats last weekend, and so for our first weekend, that's a big deal. And I believe it's within about a month from now that they should be touring downtown.
Hopefully shortly after 4th of July.
Shortly after the 4th of July, the duck boats, you will see making the tours downtown as they cross back and forth across the Mobile River. Thank you very much, Madam President.
I saw some reports over the weekend of those duck boats, and it looked like everybody on those boats was having a fabulous time. It looks great. So we look forward to having them also launching from down here and doing the downtown tour as well. So thank you, Mayor.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Ms. Lambert?
Adoption of the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
From 3 p.m. until 10 p.m.
Aye. Opposed? All right, this is a public hearing. If there is anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this rezoning, please come to the podium. Okay, with that, the public hearing is closed.
Today is a public hearing to fix costs for demolition of structures at 254 Clay Street and 716 Shannon Street.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to speak to this, please come to the podium. Fixing the cost of demolition. All right, public hearing is closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Dr. Aisho.
Yes, thank you very much. Bert Eichhold, Health Officer, Mobile County, 251 North Bayou. I'm here to address the City Council about the Zika virus. The Zika virus is actually an RNA virus. It was first discovered about 40 years ago in Africa and is now migrated across the Atlantic Ocean and is predominantly located in South America and moving its way up north through Central America.
Excuse me, Dr. Eichel, did you say 4 years ago or 40?
40.
40 years.
Yes,
40.
it's been around for a long time. And it came out of the Zika forest in Uganda, so that's where its name came from. It's very interesting is that this week, a big day in world history and trade for Mobile, Alabama, is the Panama Canal is going to open up with the expanded route, and this is a mosquito-borne illness. Gorgas, who studied under Walter Reed, is the one who eliminated the mosquito-borne illness in Panama after the French failed, and thus Panama Canal was built. So we have a long history of mosquito-borne illness. The virus is slowly migrating northward from the Brazil. It really is, as far as any barriers that we can put up to keep the virus from coming north, there are none. Mr. Trump's wall will not be effective on keeping the Zika virus out.
Well,
The question is, we've asked, is the mosquitoes actually bite somebody who's infected with the Zika virus, and then they turn around and go bite another person, and thus the spread of the virus from one human being to another. So it's really not a big issue of people with a Zika giving it to another person with a Zika. They have to have the vector. There are two major mosquitoes that will spread the Zika virus. One is the Asian tiger mosquito, which we have present here. The other is the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which is rich in history in the spread of mosquito-borne illness. We're often asked, what can individuals do? We will first say that there's no vaccine for the Zika virus. To prevent Zika from spreading, it's really about protecting yourself from mosquito bites. Most of the mosquitoes that actually spread the Zika virus bite during the day. So we have the Asian tiger mosquito, and it's not just at night. So people need to be cautious when they're out during the day about mosquito bites. We recommend wearing long sleeve shirts and long pants. Stay in places that are air conditioned with windows and doors and screens to protect you from outside. Sleep under mosquito netting. So for those of you who like to go camping and sleep outside in a sleeping bag, we recommend that people actually use mosquito netting to protect them. The Environmental Protection Agency, DEET, is a good insect repellent. For pregnant women, the real risk of Zika virus is actually when the fetus is growing, the virus infects the brain cells that are growing the brain, so the microcephalic problem that occurs is actually the brain does not grow and expand. So everybody who's been a parent can feel the little hole on the kid's head, and the brain continues to grow over time as the plates in the brain are not ossified because of the growth process of the brain. This virus impacts those particular cells in their growth cycle. The question is how many people, if you get a Zika virus, 70% of the people who have a Zika viral infection do not know it. So they have no symptoms. For those who have symptoms, fever, headache, rash, and red eyes. The other issue is that if you have a Zika virus and you're pregnant, what is the instance of having problems? And it's probably closer between 15 to 20%. So even we don't have any real good data because we haven't had a controlled study where some get bitten and who doesn't, but we estimate around 15% of the people will potentially have microcephalic illness. The only way to actually deal with this is a pregnancy termination. If you actually have it and you track it, that is a personal decision that the health department does not take a stand, and you need to discuss that with your private health care provider. I think will travel from reported cases. Your Mobile County Health Department, we actually have a vector control team. We have Mr. Jerry Foltz who will explain to you, but there's a science that we use about mosquitoes. We actually have a master's trained entomologist on site. We have mosquito traps around the entire county, so we look and see what kind of mosquitoes are in the traps. We then have sentinel flocks of chickens around the county, so we actually do blood tests on chickens to find out Triple E, West Nile, other infections that may be present, and then we concentrate our spraying activities on data. So we just don't run around spraying poison everywhere through the county. We try to be as scientific as we can. For individuals, I think is walk around your yard. The average mosquito can only fly about 300 feet. The speed of a mosquito, so those who walk and run, Lieutenant Taylor's over there, mosquito can't catch her because they only fly about 1.5 miles an hour, And if you ever see her running early in the morning, she goes faster than that. And the distance that they can fly, the longest range is about 1 to 3 miles for a mosquito, but this particular one's about 300 feet. So we recommend everybody, if you have somebody in your neighborhood who's expecting, go around and empty all cans and bird baths. If you want to keep a bird bath, get the little donuts that you can buy commercially available and put in the bird bath. That allows the mosquitoes not to breed. The mosquitoes can breed in anything even the size of a water bottle cap if it sits out for about 2 days. So mosquitoes are very opportunistic. They have to lay their eggs in water, and then the mosquitoes hatch out. So that's important. The Alabama Department of Public Health, I recommend everybody have a reference, and we're going to have some handouts for everybody. But www.adph.org is a good website to look at. There's actually Dr. Tom Miller and the Mobile County Health and the Alabama Department of Public Health crew talk about Zika, and they have updates. So as we move forward, as far as the city is concerned and the county, look for standing water and ditches. I recommend that we talk to Public Works to try to find those ditches and get them to drain, because those will be breeding sites for mosquitoes. And I'll be glad to answer any questions that members of the council and Jerry Foltz will come to you and talk about the actual spray program.
Thank you. Mrs. Rich?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Eichel. Really appreciate the information. Swimming pools, abandoned ones, really concern me a lot. Our inspectors have to see something from the road in order to initiate an inspection. I know that your health department will go into the backyard, but it's my understanding as long as the pool is drained, then it's not necessarily cleared up, because the next rain is going to create water sitting in an abandoned pool. And I've asked our legal counsel, and I questioned the council whether we needed an ordinance that, dealt with abandoned swimming pools, because it is really an issue, not just in the district I represent, but throughout the city, as a means to really breed mosquitoes.
I agree, and the interesting piece is they're actually fish, gambizo fish will eat the mosquito larvae. We do not have the ability to necessarily go onto private property. We have to get permission, and we have gone in certain areas where we gotten the neighbors to let us go in and climb a ladder and look over the fence,
Right.
and then we can use court action as necessary to try to abate nuisances of public health. I don't know an ordinance. Most of the times it's a matter of financial resources that individuals don't have the dollars. It's abandoned property, so I'm not sure if it, from your standpoint, is it something that you could then lien the property like when cutting the grass? I think
Yes.
there's an ordinance
That's-
that would allow you to then lien the
Remove
property
the-
for the abate the
nuisance.
problem. And I commend anything we can do to get rid of sites that breed mosquitoes. Old tires will help with this
Right.
particular problem.
Yeah, old tires are a huge problem throughout the city. Exactly. Mr. Richardson?
Yes, thanks, Madam President. Dr. Ashore, I have 42 open parallel ditches in Trinity Gardens alone, and water stand in those ditches almost year-round. I had a meeting out there last Thursday, and they told me that in Baldwin County, there was something they could drop in the water, and that Zika virus mosquito cannot stand that. He has got to go. So I want to know, can you give them so they can drop in the ditch and run that mosquito out of the community?
It's not just the Zika virus mosquito, it's all mosquitoes, and those are the little donuts that we have. So it's basically making the water where mosquitoes cannot breed, and
Yes.
you put the chemicals in, and Jerry, who will follow me, will provide more information about those particular products. I personally,
Can you get us some?
The answer to that is yes, and
Oh,
I think Jerry will tell you more about
Okay.
which ones. The real issue is trying to get the ditches to drain, and we've talked, I was at Trinity Gardens when we had a meeting, and you were present also, and it's a matter of just picking the lowest ones in the system and then slowly getting up so the water goes downhill, and we're working with our city partners on doing that.
Outstanding.
Thanks. Any other
Madam
questions of Mr. Small?
Yes, good morning, Doctor, and thank you so much for coming down to our meeting this morning. You said that 70% of the people do not have this virus.
That's correct.
So do they ever get cured, or how do they get cured, or is it just natural cure, or what?
Well, it's basically, this is like West Nile, and we all went through this in the community. Is West Nile's, we have a population who's at risk that really doesn't have antibodies to this particular virus. And so as people get exposed to it, responds differently to viral illnesses, and age and those who are trying to conceive. Also, it can be spread from the male to the woman, so we recommend if the male travels down to South America, Central America, or into a real endemic area, gets bitten by lots of mosquitoes, that they probably should not reproduce or have the intent of having a child for 6 months is what the recommendation is for the male. You basically clear the virus if you don't really get sick, but like any other viral illness in our children who get sick, you develop antibodies, and the immune system's pretty amazing. But right now, no one has any immunity to this virus because it's novel to our geographic area.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions of Dr. Eichhold?
All right, thank you very much, and we'd like
Mr.
Mr. Foltz to have an opportunity to talk
Okay,
about
thank you.
the program.
Good morning. We're responsible for about 1,200 square miles of Mobile County. The county's broken up into 50 different spray routes, and as Dr. Eichhold mentioned, the spray routes are chosen by inspection and surveillance data, and we also respond to complaints from the public. We also monitor adult mosquito populations. We have 16 traps scattered throughout the county. We run those weekly. We bring them back to the lab. They're identified by species and by numbers, and they're identified by our staff entomologists. We also are in the process of getting some BG Sentinel traps, and these traps have been shown to be more effective on the Asian tiger mosquitoes than our current traps. See, not all mosquitoes are attracted to all different types of mosquitoes are attracted to different light. Some are attracted to CO2, some are attracted to light sources. So we're getting these specifically for the Asian tiger mosquito. We do have sentinel chicken sites that we monitor. We have 13 sites that are strategically placed throughout the county. We bleed the chickens on Monday. We send them off to a lab in Tampa, and we receive the results on Friday mornings. We also sample the chickens for St. Louis encephalitis, West Nile virus, and Eastern equine encephalitis. And right now, there is no test for Zika virus in chickens. We also, as Councilman Richardson had mentioned, we do have some inspectors that do monitor and treat breeding sites throughout the county. Chances are we are already treating those, but I'll get with you on that. We have roughly 200 sites, 2,000 sites that we monitor regularly and treat year-round. We also have a Cessna 182 aircraft, which we have purchased. We've outfitted it with a spray system. It's calibrated and ready to go when needed. It's used primarily in the coastal areas to combat large hatch-offs of salt marsh mosquitoes. It's also used along the causeway and can be used in areas that are inaccessible by truck. Our aerial spray missions are conducted at dusk to coincide with peak activity periods for mosquitoes, and all of our aerial spray routes are FAA approved. As far as public education, we're trying to do anything that we can to get the message out about Zika. We've been attending we attended Council Richardson's meeting last week, or early this week rather. No, it was last week, excuse me. And we've been doing news interviews and anything that we can to get the public that the most effective thing is going to be for them to eliminate the breeding sources eliminate, go ahead and wear personal protection. It gets to a thing to where if a breeding source is not eliminated, the problem's not going to get any better. The mosquitoes in that container are all different stages of development. They're going to hatch out daily. I can send an army of spray trucks to kill the adults that are present. Tomorrow, a whole new set of mosquitoes are going to hatch out. The public perception is the health department must be spraying water because I've still got adult mosquitoes. The problem's not going to get any better. So anything that we can do to, get everybody to buy into this thing. I mean, I've been into mosquito control a very long time, and Zika seems to be waking people up to the message about, the things that they need to do. In years past, it seems to have fallen on deaf ears, but now they seem to be more receptive to the message, and I appreciate it. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Foltz? We just appreciate you and Dr. Eichhold coming today, and also for agreeing to partner with the city on this awareness program. It's very, very important that we get the word out, and the council is committed to doing everything that we can to help spread the word and work with our citizens through meetings like Mr. Richardson held, through our newsletter and Facebook, and just all the interactions that we have with citizens in the community to help you get the word out, to try to eliminate those breeding grounds. It's very important, especially community cleanups that many of us have in our neighborhoods. We do find abandoned tires throughout the city. Again, a very good breeding site for mosquitoes. So we just look forward to working with you, and anything that we can do to help, please don't hesitate to contact us.
Okay.
All right? Thank you again for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jan McKay.
Good morning, President Gregory and City Council, Mayor Stimson, and everyone this morning. I'm Jan McKay. My address is 65 Government Street. I'm with the Gulf Coast Explorium Science Center. Thank you for the opportunity to update you today on what's going on at the Explorium, and there is a lot going on. Our summer camps are in full swing. We've been doing summer camps for ages 4 to 14 for 15 years now. So this is our 15th year, and we're very excited about the children that come. It is a week-long summer camp of 5 days, full days of fun and discovery. The camps are formatted around science and discovery. So while there's a lot of fun, children learn about chemistry, insects, the environment, inventions, weather, space, health, astronomy, biology, engineering, and on and on. And then for the 12 and 14-year-olds, we have camps for computers and 3D printing, innovation, how to be innovative. We have a CSI mobile. And we also have the Airbus flight camp, where the kids actually, their last day of camp, they actually get to fly an airplane. And some brave soul goes up there with them. It's not me. So we love the kids, and as I said, it's a safe environment, and they take advantage of the IMAX movies and all of our galleries. So spread the word, please, and I gave you a summer camp guide. There it is right there. Yes, thank you. Also, speaking of the IMAX, currently we are showing Mummies, Mystery of the Pharaohs, and The Great White Shark. And those are being rotated, and also this summer we're bringing back 10 other films that have been popular over the years. So if you just kind of watch what's happening, there are different films all summer long. We've started something interesting in May. It's what we are calling Domehead Science. And of course, we're one of only 50 domes in the world in the J.L. Bedsall IMAX Dome Theater. So Domehead Science is combining a lesson in physics or whatever the topic is, followed by a contemporary a physicist from the University of South Alabama who talked about the fact and fiction related to Star Wars. And it's amazing how much fiction was in that very first Star Wars that is now fact today. And I could go on about what those are, but it was a great presentation on the Dome in the IMAX, and we followed that with the very first Star Wars movie. It was sold out, and so we realized we could do this again. So coming up on, June 30th, we're having a professor, Dr. Jay Marcos from the Dolphin Island Sea Lab, who's going to be coming out, and his topic is Tiger Sharks, Garbage Cans of the Gulf. He's going to be talking about sharks, what they eat, the properties of sharks, and we're following his presentation on the Dome with Jaws. So if any of you would like to be involved in that, we've got some other fun things like that coming up. July 23rd is Bubble Day. This is a new event for us. Kids love, what kid doesn't like to blow bubbles and be outside and have fun? But at the same time, we're going to teach some science about chemistry and wind and properties of bubbles as much as we can. So that is an exciting day coming up. And then on July 6th, every Wednesday through Labor Day, we are having Wet you ask? Wet Wednesdays are basically a time for kids to come out in their swimsuits, get wet, enjoy the courtyard, and their moms and dads can have a little respite from babysitting or what have you. So I could go on. We've got a Sherlock Holmes exhibit. We've got an exhibit on drugs, costs and consequences coming up in 2017, and a lot of things in between. But thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Well, I just have
Joel?
I have a quick statement. I had the opportunity to go tour the Explorium yesterday with Ms. McKay, and went to the summer camp that the kids were having, and they were in there, and they were creating germs. They were painting germs, and they were doing a heck of a good job painting germs. They were doing a great job and having a lot of fun. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much.
Those camps sound amazing.
Thank you for your time.
Sure.
Irene Anton.
Good morning.
My name is Irene Anton. I live at 2202 Clinton Street, and I wanted to talk about the item. I forgot the number. She has it on.
64027.
64027?
Yes.
Okay, that's down there in front of Bishop State, where the gas company used to be, and that soil is poisonous. We have talked about it before. I was told that the engineer come and had, before Dr. Lower from Bishop died, he was going to put something behind the avenue, the restaurant. It was poisonous, and you couldn't do it. I was behind two people in the gas company, from the gas company. They were talking about the flowers before they took them up. And I asked them, why do you have the hose pipes running to the flowers like that? He said, because we can't put them in the ground. So we need to do something about this poisonous land. You have a place up by the projects where Ashley gave property to the city to do something. It's poisonous. Right now, we are coming down 3 Mile Creek, and on that side where a family used to live, they done laid the pipes out, and they put a fence around that area. That whole family died. I don't know where they are now, but that's right there at, time you cross the bridge, coming down Stone Street. So that's something you really need to look into, if you don't mind. And I'd like to ask the question, ma'am, about the mosquitoes, if that's okay.
Well, you can ask a question, but Dr. Eicholt has left, so we may not be able to answer it, but go ahead.
Okay, many, many years ago. That's not asking a question, that's telling you something.
You're just making a statement.
But making a statement. You had malaria in Africa, and you know what they cured it with? Hyperoxide. Okay? Mosquitoes don't bite me, none. You know why? I use Oxygen soap. You know that soap you wash the clothes with? That's what we bathe with.
Oh, wow.
Okay, now they used to make it in Mexico. They don't make it in Mexico anymore. It's Dual Drugstore, and that's $5 a bar.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
027, rezone property 804 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue from R3 and B4 to R2.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
322, authorizes
Okay, thank you. Totaled up with no, they contribute to, basically, in return for this remodeling investment. Will this subsidy create an unfair advantage against surrounding retail outlets or small businesses? Legacy Village was brought to the table to discuss a non-compete clause, and I understand that everyone is satisfied with that. But what about all the other interests in our city of smaller business throughout our community? How are they being protected? They were not at the table. Is there a concern about the mall across the street from Bel Air Mall? Is there a concern about vacancies at the Festival Center? Is there a concern about the vacant retail buildings at University and Airport across from the new Publix? Is there a concern about retail downtown? What we are seeing in Mobile is a shifting of stores and very few new retail entities coming to town, yet we are preparing to hand over millions of tax dollars to an out-of-town corporation. How do we pick and choose the businesses to support with our precious tax dollars that presently appears to be stagnant? Is this corporate subsidies a wise use of tax dollars? I find it interesting that we are considering supporting an enclosed mall concept that appears to be a struggling concept nationwide. The trend is towards internet sales. The trend is towards lifestyle mall concepts in which citizens live and conduct recreation business in and around these centers. It actually would dovetail into Map of Mobile if that was what was developed. In the traditional mall model, if a Dillard's or a J.C. Penney's or a Belk's close, then nationwide there leaves a huge void present in the local malls that can't be filled readily or quickly. The citizens of District 6, of who I speak for, have responded quite vigorously that I should not vote for this subsidy. Finally, I hope the mayor and his administration questions the ethics and possible conflicts of allowing his paid legal consultants and their law firms to represent investors or developers that want to influence our council for support of their projects. It was uncomfortable for me to meet with representatives of Rouse who were accompanied by their attorney, who is also the paid city consultant. There needs to be a separation of these paid city consultants from working with entities that are asking for city subsidies. It is unfair to my office. It is unfair to the many other legal firms seeking clients. Thank you.
All right.
Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Small.
Yes, on October the 14th, 2014, we had something to come on the agenda which I had abstained from, which was the special tax warrant at the Westwood Plaza Shopping Center on Schillinger Road. At that particular meeting, I stated that this was going to come again to council, where we're going to have other shopping centers and malls and come to us asking for help. Well, today, we do have Bel Air Mall in front of us today. Back in October, I did abstain my vote. The reason why is because that particular shopping center was just about finished. The major anchor store at that particular shopping center, Westwood, was only a couple of days away from having its grand opening. So why would this shopping center need help? And it was just about completely finished and about to have a grand opening at one of the biggest anchor stores. So today we have Bel Air Mall in front of us in the middle of construction. The comparison of the tax sale to is not, this is the lowest 2015 under renovation. 2011, Belk by Springdale Mall. What about other struggling shopping centers in Mobile? What about struggling shopping centers in District 3? We have a lot of struggling shopping centers in our city that needs help, that needs tax rebates. And my question is to the council and to the administration, if these shopping centers, such as the ones off of DIP and throughout Maysville and down the Bay, if they come to the administration, they come to the city, are we gonna give them a tax rebate? I would be the first one to say, yes, I will help the struggling companies to help them push the business in Mobile. But to me, with these businesses that's already under construction and they are already moving forward, the rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poor. And today, my office cannot support that. So my vote today will be no with this incentive. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Daves?
I think that, first of all, the city has offered in the past in the economic development incentives to retail developments. I think in each one of these, we need to look at the particular facility and determine, based on that facility, whether or not it's appropriate in that particular case. Each facility is different. You can't take a cookie-cutter approach to it. What we're dealing with here is a large retail mall that was built 50 years ago and is in the heart of our city. Now, we have seen throughout the country malls go completely blank and dead. We can't afford to have a dead retail facility in the middle of the city, right at Airport Boulevard and I-65. I commend Rouse for coming in and making a substantial investment in this community and in that particular facility. And I think we as a city council, as an administration, as a city, ought to do everything we can to help make their operations successful. Now, what we're talking about today is a plan by which the only way that Rouse gets money back from the city is if the sales revenues increase at the mall. And as Mr. Small has pointed out, 2015 is taken as a base year, and then they've got to get the sales revenues up to the sales tax revenues up to 110% of 2015 before they get the first dollar. So I think in this, we don't sit here with a crystal ball knowing what's down the road. Might happen in order not only to protect the current sales tax revenues of Bel Air Mall, also to increase sales tax revenues.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Yes,
Mr. Richardson?
Excuse me. I've heard Mr. Rich talk about retail. And let me just say that the citizens in my district along the Osceola Road corridor tasked me in finding a store for that area, Midtown. It's a food desert. And they're having to drive away from their community for the amenities that's already in other communities. Well, I did find a grocery store willing to come to that area. And they have asked us, they're willing to, they don't want one nickel from the city to build their store, not one. They got all of the revenue to build their store, and they're going to build other venues beyond the store. All they're asking the city to do is fix our own street. Unlike Bel Air Mall, we don't own Bel Air Mall. The Bel Air Mall people want us to help them fix Bel Air Mall up, but we don't own it. We own every city street. It belongs to the city of Mobile and its citizens. They want us to fix Florida Street, want us to fix Osceola Road as it intersects with their property, to move the people in and out. And we will be voting in the next 2 or 3 weeks on that project. Hopefully it'll pass council. Once it's passed council, construction is going to start, and they're going to want the street fixed by the city. And all I'm saying, I'm issuing the cry. I've already
Anyone else?
I'd just
Mr.
like to say, Madam President, that I could not agree more with my colleague, Mr. Daves. If people just read the minutes there, I think that you'll have a clear understanding of the importance of this project. This council has never denied a recommendation for economic development by any because of where it is in economic development. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We don't need the city of Mobile. They offer shopping opportunities to our city, and if we want to attract the caliber of shopping experience that you see in New Orleans and in other places, along with population and along with median income, you need these kinds of facilities. They've worked out all of the side issues and complaints that have come forward from others in the city of Mobile relative to retail. And so I think this is a great opportunity to improve our premier shopping venue. They only will receive resources as the city's taxes increases. That's the only way that they'll earn any money, is if the taxes collected at this particular site continue, even ties into tourism. One of the things that people look at as they decide whether or not to come here for conventions and other meetings is what is the shopping experience going to be in Mobile? I know I consider that when I go places. People will consider that as they consider Mobile. So I will be supporting this initiative. And if there's a project in any area of the city that has this same makeup, same configuration, that is in need of investment, I'll go on record today saying that I'll proudly support them as well, so that we have opportunities for shopping, quality shopping, all over our city.
All right, Mrs. Rich wanted to,
Yes, thank you. I appreciate the extra time. One thing I forgot to concentrate on is the fact that this is not new square footage. The other tax incentive investments that the city has made with other commercial center owners is that it was brand new square footage, therefore new jobs and new tax revenue. The other thing is that I hope that this council, because there is some struggle with some of us accepting these kinds of initiatives, will come up with a template that will be followed, because once we open this door, there will be other center owners that were not at the table protecting their tenants from being whisked away, and therefore they lose their tenant space. And like I said, the Legacy Village Mall or Square, they sat at the table. We held this up for a month for them to negotiate what they wanted. It is not something the city is part of. So we had this sidebar going on in order to satisfy, or if not, they would probably be before us. Business owners were not afforded that opportunity, because I had suggested that perhaps we have some kind of clause that does protect our other businesses. But I do hope this council, along with the administration, will come up with exactly when we plug in incentives. I understand the need for that at times, but again, this was something that for their investment, and I didn't see where this was in the city's best interest. And again, I heard very well from my constituents, because I put the agreement in a newsletter 3 or 4 times for them to review, and many, many of them spoke back to me about not going with the project. So I just want to reflect their thoughts as well.
all right, thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Madam President.
Mr. Small?
Just for the record, I do, and my office do, support economic development in the city. But just to remember that, Bel Air Mall is now in the middle of construction. They're only expecting to get 10% more. 10% is not a lot. And remember that, we have one store just leaving one mall. You're going to be consolidating to one store in Bel Air Mall. So you got 2 stores going to be one. So with 10% is not a lot, but just remember that my office do support economic development. But right now, my mind is looking at the moms and pop shops that are struggling throughout our city, and that cannot go and try to get more loans or to improve their businesses. or the facial of their business and everything. But that's what we need to concentrate, is helping the little smaller shops, to help the little smaller shopping centers that are struggling. But just to help someone that's in the middle of construction, close to finished construction, I cannot support, and my constituents that I have spoken to also support me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I support this proposal today. You've heard from everybody here with a variety of reasons, but primarily the reason to support it and to move forward is because, as Mr. Daves had mentioned, that the last thing we want to see is a dead mall in the center of our city. Bel Air Mall has been with us for many, many years. They are under construction, that is true. It doesn't mean that this proposal was brought to us at the last minute when they were almost finished. The agreement had been under construction, if you will, for a long time before it finally arrived in front of us to discuss. We understand that there are other groups out there who may want some help, and as Mr. Daves mentioned, on a case-by-case basis, that's how the city will look at them. We need to consider all who come to us and to determine what the impact will be. And having new stores, new renovation, a whole new facade with opportunities for more shopping experiences for tourists to come in, I think is just very, very important for us to look at very seriously and give them the consideration that we've been asked to give. This is the only inside mall in our area. There's not another one until you get to, I don't know, Montgomery and Birmingham, those areas. Outdoor lifestyle centers have been the new thing, but in Mobile, we only have one mall. We have no lifestyle center, so Bel Air Mall is very important for us to try to maintain and keep it viable. Again, the last thing we want to have is one of those dead and dying malls that we keep reading about all over AL.com. Mobile does not need to be a poster child for that as well. So with that, I will ask if there is any other
Could I make one?
discussion?
Just one more statement. As my colleague, Mr. Manzi, pointed out, Rouse paid $130 million for this facility, and they're prepared to put another $25 million into it. This is a $150 million investment by this company in retail in this city. Now, if someone else comes along and is willing to put 100 for a retail facility in this city, I think we'll be happy.
basis, I think this at least is another step in the right direction for those folks who live along Ziegler Boulevard. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
There's no objection. I'll take the next two together. 37420 front on and for DP2
Downtown Legacy Village.
44 for authorized removal of weeds. 15 the list of private. Aye.
Opposed?
Morkowitz.
All in favor?
Leo.
9 call.
Start on my
State of Utah. You'll note their effort, I think, very professionally addressing now. It is very important that we not begin to believe that we're the only ones that have the answers or that we're the only ones with the problems to fix. I have an article I'd like to share with the mayor after the meeting and maybe pass on to the chief. I'll bet that interim police chief would like to hear from ours. And we might just learn something from that brand-new police chief there. I started to say this technology allows me to stay in contact. There is times when I miss a phone call or a text, and the only thing that I ask is for an understanding. Don't let me off the hook. I would ask that you address your issue 895.
Area. This evening, we will planning for church at 6 o'clock. This meeting will be we will be this evening at 8 o'clock to 3. Park band, Tater Park football.
We enjoyed sharing how I became an elected official in the city. But at lunchtime, each of us was to sit at a table, and I wanted to make sure that they were not totally turned off to politics, and the table, that our citizens there on with us and also attend the preliminary and the actual, and I thank the Parrington Weeks. And
Cried their new 501 planning that are coming together. Communities, this is next Empowerment 23rd calls from on Wagner Conference. Seniors over crime area. They don't want to be area that live, and I am.
Manzi?
Asking that this council community specifically bringing this effort to bear, and I would hope that my colleagues would join us in bringing this to fruition. Hopefully during the budgeting period, we'll have the opportunity to find resources to fund this new division, this new department, and really as a city take a more active role in the activities of our young people. We wonder sometimes how situations occur, and if we as a community can be that conduit for positive activity and be that conduit for some positive reinforcements, for mentoring, for summer youth employment opportunities, for things to give them something positive to gravitate to, I believe that we will see positive results in every metric that we measure. So I'm looking forward to working with my colleagues, hopefully, and working with the administration to make certain that this is a successful venture, not only for our young people, but for the sake of our city. There are other communities that have these kinds of programs: Birmingham, Decatur, Memphis, Chicago, Atlanta, Chattanooga, Lexington, Kentucky, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can take their best practices and implement them here and provide another positive conduit for the young people in our areas. So switching from our young people to our senior citizens, I just wanted to ask, were there any updates relative to the Thomas Sullivan SEL program at this time?
There are no updates from last week. Again, the resolution is going to be handled via personnel changes, and given the sensitive nature of personnel changes and limitations by the Personnel Board, we cannot discuss those at this time.
Well, I just want to make a quick report. This is of what's going on. I don't know what the President's pleasure is on that, but I do want to stress to the citizens in that community that from my office, we're working as quickly and as expeditiously as we can to return normalcy to that program. And if that involves some transition as it relates to the employees, I understand that, but the number one paramount those meals that
And that committed to something that we can't discuss. Bottom of this, and
Is the chair of the Administrative Services Committee, so Mr. Manzi, if you will talk to your other members of the committee and set a date and work with the administration too so that they can provide the proper personnel, then we'll move forward with that.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else before we move on? It's been brought to my attention that Resolution 31428 has a timeline on it of today. Actually, this is a grant where there is no match. It is authorizing the mayor to apply, accept, and receive an agreement of understanding with the OJJDP fiscal year 16 Safe and Thriving Communities Program Grant. It's of $1 million, and we do need to go ahead and vote on this today.
Hold up 1 minute.
I'm ready.
No matches are supposed to be consent. I mean, I didn't catch it.
Well, we don't need to do nothing. because
Hang
it's
on.
coming.
Oh, hang on.
Left hand and right hand, other hand. I just asked the chief to about the head of traffic. Just I've discussed it. This is a different section. Paul's millions. We just got some. You know, I'm waving through. I would just go through the motion. That goes away. Instead of going catching some people down here. And give them a ticket. You know, let's help traffic.
But if we ain't voting on it, they can't do it.
What's the deal?
They pass it and they don't need it, then they can always just.
Can we get some background from the administration? I mean, I heard initials, but they didn't mean anything to me. What exactly the grant involves? I'm just curious. So,
Do you mind going ahead, Mr. Cooper, and just telling us what the grant involves, and then we'll
yeah,
move forward?
what those initials are.
I'd rather not talk about the grant right now if we're actually not going to submit it, because that'll create false expectations to the community, because it does involve prevention and response to various activities that we are combating in neighborhoods.
So,
Lisa, can you confirm with your email that she wants it removed?
Yes, she sent, Laura Engel from the chief's office sent an email asking that we pull the application on today's agenda, that the chief and the mayor decided not to pursue it. So that's what we were just going to table it, but
Let's just leave it
Well,
on there until next week.
We
Been held-
need
held
some
over.
direction on what you all would like for us to do.
That's what happens when staff doesn't copy the mayor's office on guidance.
If you would go ahead and approve it, and we don't submit it, we'll let you all know.
Bess is asking for us to explain.
Okay. Madam,
Is that today is the deadline, so we would have to go ahead and approve it today, and I think what they are saying is, if a decision is made later not to submit, then they will make that decision later, but if we do, then today is the deadline, and we need to approve this.
Madam
Am I
President,
right? All right, Mr. Richardson.
I motion to suspend the rule for immediate consideration of Resolution 31428.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Resolution 31428, authorize the mayor to apply, accept, and receive an agreement of understanding with the OJJDP Safe and Thriving Communities Program Grant, no local match.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
can I just know what those initials stand for? I'm just curious. I mean,
OJJD.
do we know?
Department of Justice.
So it's a federal grant. It's not, it's a federal grant. We got that right?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, it's the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency.
All right,
And just for clarification, no match, correct?
that's what it
Right.
says, no match.
No match.
Correct.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, glad we could get that one cleared up.
Oh, no, if we did.
All right, before we go, I do want to remind everyone, if you travel Old Shell Road, you know that there is some construction going on with resurfacing. I got an email from a lady the other day who was concerned because they have to do some patchwork first, and she was afraid that we were leaving the road with just this patch, and we weren't going to go ahead and finish up the resurfacing. So, yeah, it takes a while. There's some patching that goes on and grading and that sort of thing. But Old Shell Road from McGregor heading east, and it will also go through Mr. Richardson's district, will eventually all be resurfaced, so that's good news. Also, throughout the city, sidewalk repairs are going on. And just a reminder about distinguished July